Will the Patrick Corbin renaissance continue? Will the Pittsburgh Pirates keep sucking? All that and game one of the Western Conference Finals today here on the Morning Wager, the Tuesday edition of the Morning Wager. And if it's Tuesday, Mark Zinno, that means it's $5 Tuesday. Best bets available for just $5.
Yes. We had an okay day yesterday. Look, I don't know how I feel about the no play thing. Two of our plays yesterday on the show were actually graded no play because we had pitching changes. And what was really annoying is both of those guys pitched in the game. Like, I get it if a guy's got the flu, he's got hemorrhoids, his herpes is flaring up, like, can't take the mound. But the idea that you were slated to be a starter and then didn't start only to pitch the second inning, BS.
I remember when the Rays began this opener thing a few years ago.
They made the playoffs that year.
That was a big. People were losing their minds. Like, who's starting? Is this guy going to start, or are they going to switch it on me? And I just stopped betting Rays games down the stretch that year.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we do have three bets for you today.
But I was yesterday turned into for the we talked in the morning. What should have been a 4-0 day for me. Okay, and yes, I'm going to whine here a little bit. We talked in the morning, and the first thing I said to you was Cubs Marlins over, right? And I don't know why. I got very nervous when I looked at the Ben Brown splits on home and the road that the Marlins wouldn't score because the Marlins can't score in a whorehouse with a fistful of hundreds. And I got off the over and laid the 1.5 for the Cubs. And then lo and behold, I'm glad they lost the game outright. But the game goes over in the 5th inning. I'm like, so stupid. So anyway, that took me down to 3-1. Then the Orioles over got pulled off the board because of
an opener
pitching change, and I got the other two plays right, and I settled for a 2-1. I'm not upset, but just frustrated.
Well, you're always upset. We've
no, not. And
the commenters believe that they don't think you've ever been happy.
I would that's their problem, but I would like to give a shout out to Cash Daddy Dallas. Dallas. He's a good little sparring session in the comment section. He and I, nice guy, right? Got along.
You love to get into it with the commenters. You love to get into it with people on social media.
Not really. No, not really. But I have a 2 comment limit, right?
Oh.
Like, people I don't know on the internet only get 2 comments from me. You get 2 responses, then I walk away.
I stopped getting into arguments on the internet. You know when that was? When I wanted to severely injure a human being for saying that Johnny Manziel was going to be a good NFL quarterback. Don't ever doubt how seriously I take sports, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Well,
he's going to revolutionize Cleveland. I said, I would like you to move out of the city. And if you don't, I will actually help you pack your bags and leave. And I will
let's get back to our motto.
Oh.
Less excuses, more winners.
Okay. I actually had a couple winners in Major League Baseball last night. About a couple underdogs. The Red Sox, it was an ideal situation. They jumped on the Mets early. I know you had the first 5 under in there.
That was the sweat.
You won on that game as well.
That was the sweat. I had some choice words for Kodai Senga last night.
Well, you did, and I had to read those. But I'll say this. The Red Sox, thankfully, they scored 2 runs in the first inning because they only scored 1 run the rest of the game. So we both won.
The 3-1 sweat for the 5th inning ended up being the final score.
It did, yes.
I was sitting there going, there's going to be a 2-out, 2-strike home run in the bottom of the 5th inning to blow this for me. I was waiting for it. I was absolutely waiting for a 2-out, 2-strike solo home run.
And I'll be honest, I was waiting for it as well and was very nervous because I didn't want to receive that phone call or text. I also cashed the Kansas City Royals yesterday. Robbie Ray, for the first time this year, the Giants lost. It wasn't his fault, though. It's funny, you're sitting there watching a game unfold. Everybody, it seemed, was on the under. A lot of people I respect, I should say, was on the under in that game last night, under 7.5.
For the record, I wasn't on the under because you don't respect me.
I do respect you. You just happen to not be on it. All right? Anyway, it was an incredible pitcher's duel. The Royals stole it late. It wasn't actually Ray's fault, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. My third play, you talk about some funny business, was suspended due to rain. I'll let you all know. I am on the Cleveland Guardians in the first game of 2 today with Minnesota. It will resume 6:10 Eastern, I believe, in the Twin Cities. The Guardians are currently down 2-1. I think they're going to come back and win because you know what's great? Bailey Ober isn't going to pitch again today. So we've got him out of the way.
Yeah. So there is only one pitcher left in Major League Baseball right now. And take notes, kiddies, whose team is undefeated when he starts. And that is Jackson Jobe. Yeah. So.
All right. That's enough about us and yesterday. Let's get the people what they want and some plays for today.
Can I do one more thing real quick? Because it kind of relates to today a little bit. And I'll get right into my play from there. How's that sound?
Okay.
You know, I don't want to be in any more Wager Talk videos that are put out there to the ether because, like, here's the problem. We gave out the Dodgers yesterday, right? On the show. Now, obviously, the Dodgers didn't win. So
they did not.
But it was graded as no play because Landon Knack didn't start. So everybody's sitting there on the Wager Talk video that they put out on their social media is sitting here commenting at me and chirping at me like I'm an idiot. I'm like, guys, the game didn't count. Like, it doesn't matter that I was wrong. It wouldn't matter if I was right. The game doesn't count. So it was emotional. And I'm going to make another stupid emotional bet today. Because yesterday was about the Dodgers. Yesterday was about the Dodgers just being like, okay, well, I lost with them on Sunday. Now I got to come back and play with them on Monday. And apparently the Angels are never going to lose again. And the Dodgers are never going to win again. But we have a rule. We can't go back to the same game, same series 2 days in a row. So we have to walk away from the Dodgers, even though might be worth a look tonight, folks. Are they going to lose 5 in a row, Bryan Power?
They're hefty favorites. You're going to have to look for an alternate market there.
Yes, I will. I will look for alternative markets and lifestyles.
You always do.
To play with the Dodgers. All right, emotional bet. I've had enough of this Patrick Corbin shit. This has got to stop. This has got to end. I've had enough of Patrick Corbin as a reliable starter in this league. I'm not dealing with it anymore. Okay? He's finally going to face a lineup, okay, that has a set of balls. All right? And that's the Yankees. I shouldn't say that. He's faced 2 decent lineups so far in his 5 starts. Faced Detroit and Seattle. Those are 2 top 10 lineups in baseball, okay? And for whatever reason, those games all ended 2-1. Strangely enough, Patrick Corbin, when he's pitched 3 of his 5 starts, 3 of them have ended up in exactly 2-1 losses. Weird. Both of his wins, his team has scored 8 runs. Weird. Anyway, I just don't think this is actually a thing. And I think the Yankees are going to be able to score runs against Patrick Corbin tonight. And the Texas Rangers bullpen is not great. It's a bottom 10 bullpen in Major League Baseball. But I can't bet on the Yankees because Will Warren is starting and Will Warren sucks. So, yes, Bryan Power would say, well, why don't you just take the over? I'm going to say, screw you, Bryan Power, okay? I'm also going to say, Mr. The Yankees are feast or famine. The Yankees offense seems to be feast or famine, and I think they'll be famine tonight because I'm Bryan Power. Okay? Well, I think it's feast time. Bryan Power also told me, I think the Yankees are coming off an emotional win the other night.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched it. They were very happy to beat the Mets on Sunday Night Baseball.
That's how much my life has changed as a Yankees fan. They actually care about beating the Mets. To quote Derek Jeter, it's just the Mets. Okay. So settle down. Regardless, I think the Yankees can still score over 4.5 runs here. I'm making this bet emotionally to punk you. I'm making this bet emotionally, okay, to punk Patrick Corbin because I'm tired of this. I want him to go back to sucking. All right. I want him to go back to being awful. It'll make me feel a lot better. Yankees team total over 4.5.
To quote Derek Jeter, here's a gift basket. But Mark Zinno likes the Yankees team total over 4.5. All right.
How do you know?
I got one. It's in the other room. Anyway, I'm kidding. That would be weird. All right. Let's talk about, you talk about feast or famine lineups, Mark Zinno.
Yeah, you feast or famine.
I don't sound like that. Okay. You're making me sound like a Looney Tunes character. I don't sound like that. I have a voice that projects, quite frankly. Let's talk about something that doesn't project, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates lineup. They're facing the Reds, 6:40 Eastern from beautiful PNC Park. I think there are a lot of reasons, Mark Zinno, to like the under 8 in this NL Central matchup. First off, this Pirates lineup, as you know, stinks. 29th in batting average, 29th in WRC. A reminder, there are only 30 major league teams, everybody. And most importantly, the Pirates are dead last in runs scored. Second thing, not only are the Pirates 8-1-1 to the under their last 10 games, but the Reds are now 8-0 to the under their last 8 games. Now let's look at the 2 starting pitchers for tonight's game. Nick Martinez for the Reds has been very good his last 5 starts. 2.05 ERA during that stretch. 4 consecutive quality starts. Last time out, what does he do? How about 7 shutout innings of 2-hit ball? That was against the White Sox lineup that, quite frankly, rates pretty comparably to the Pirates. The White Sox, the Pirates, and the Rockies clearly the weakest 3 lineups in all of baseball. Quite frankly, the worst 3 teams.
You
Then
are
for the
the weakest
Buccos, what's
Sorry.
that?
The weakest. I said, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
You're interrupting my train of thought. I was on a real roll there. I think that now you've killed. This can't be a clip now on the WagerTalk social media page.
You should be thanking me. You should say you're welcome.
Well, the Buccos have Bailey Falter on the mound. Who will be thanking him? Well, let's find out. Just 1 run allowed his last 3 starts, and he's a lefty, Zinno. Why is that significant?
Because the Reds can't hit lefties for snot.
Yes, they are. I talk about the Reds lineup being feast or famine. Well, it is famine against lefties. Bottom 5 in batting average against southpaws at 212. Under 8 is my half of the double play. WagerTalk production team, if you're listening, just edit out that part where Zinno interrupted me, and let's put this on the social media page.
I'm sorry. I owe you an apology. I do.
Oh, thank you.
You made me laugh. I thought of something and I laughed and I chuckled and I was like, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. So anyway,
I'm glad you got that out of your system.
I apologize.
I'm glad that people got to hear your British accent when they were hanging on every word, hearing about the under 8.
Bryan, listen. Okay, let's be real. No one hangs on every word on this show. Okay, and if they are hanging on a word, it's usually waiting for us to say something stupid.
Oh, I know a few that hang on every word.
Okay. Well,
you don't know.
I don't. Oh, those are your Feast of Famine friends?
By the way, during dinner time last night.
Story time.
Yeah, speaking of game shows, wife and kid put on The Price is Right. Apparently, it was on, I was like, "Why is The Price is Right on at night?"
In the evening? Yeah, I thought it was on like 11 a.m. every day.
I'm gonna say what everybody already knows. Drew Carey cannot hold a candle to the late great Bob Barker. It's just like you watch it, and you're like, why? You're just not as good.
Drew Carey's probably also not banging the freaking Price is Right models like Bob Barker was.
Yeah, and even
that keeps you young and fruitful
and vibrant. Yes, remember spade, neuter.
Even though he's got his loose skin and old balls and gross. Is that the guy with the old balls?
Yeah. Yes.
May he rest in peace.
Hole in 1 or 2.
He did say he was. Now you think back about it, he probably was pretty creepy.
He was. You know what? Oh, God bless Bob.
Between
Barker.
him and
God rest your
what was
soul.
his name? Richard Johnson.
Richard Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah. Used to make out with every woman there.
Yeah, that would not fly.
Swapping spit with everybody.
It's like, oh, is this your? Come on down. Yeah.
I do remember as a kid, though, when you stayed home sick from school, that you got to watch all those game shows on in a row.
I
was like, let's make a deal. The Price is Right. How much are we dating ourselves right now?
Do you know what was really cool? Like once you got into the 90s and you stayed home from school, we are dating ourselves here.
Yeah.
You got the American Gladiators reruns too after the traditional game shows.
I know they brought it back because it's awesome and it doesn't get enough love. By far, the best game show ever was Press Your Luck. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, and stop. Remember Press Your Luck with the big board?
Yes. You're an insane person, by the way.
Where did that come from?
I'm just watching your eyes as you talk about a 30-year-old game show.
Stop.
Do you mainline
a whammy
in the morning?
Whammy, go away. Come back another day.
All right, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get to our show best bet in just a minute, but it is $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. I'm going to go first because my $5 bet goes first. It is in soccer in the English Premier League. It was a disappointing 2-3 weekend on the pitch, Mark Zinno. However, we are 16. Nope, we are 16-8-1 our last 25 soccer plays. Still 6-1-1 our last 8 in the Premier League. And of course, today's bet is in the Premier League. There are 2 matches to be played here on Tuesday because the teams that are played in the FA Cup on Sunday. I'm not even going to explain the FA Cup to Mark Zinno. I will instead just allow him to tell you what his $5 play is for Tuesday.
Why would I tell him what it is? Then they wouldn't need to go to the website and get it. What kind of stupid lead-in is that? Why would I tell him what the play is?
As soon as I said it, I said, oops, I said that wrong.
Okay, everybody, here's my $5 play. Please ignore the website thing.
Oh.
It's $5. It's a Major League Baseball. We've gotten good in baseball. 65% run over the last 10 days. So went 2-1.
And you've done well on $5 Tuesday.
$5 Tuesday. We continue. Cash one finally again last week. Broke that 2-week losing streak. We are 24-12 on $5 Tuesday, dating back to last football season. I don't know why I keep track of this, but I just do. So I explained to Bryan Power the angle tonight on the game that I like.
It's the one record you know without having to look it up.
Yeah, this $5 Tuesday. I don't know why. That's the one I do know. So, but yeah. So I explained this play to Bryan Power, and he was not as excited about it as I was, but he doesn't get excited about things like this.
No.
You know what
Bryan Power...
Okay, please. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Tell everyone what. No, I was going to go in a different direction. Please tell people what I get excited about, allegedly. What do I get excited about? There are several things I get excited about.
Bryan Power gets very excited, okay, when things in sports don't match his stupid spreadsheets. He gets very, very upset.
I did. I told my dad over the weekend. We were talking about the Knicks.
Tell everybody what your dad said.
And my dad goes, you know what? I just think the Knicks are just mentally tougher than everybody. I said, if you're going to say things like that, we're not going to continue this conversation.
Bryan Power gives no credence to mental toughness. What does that even mean, Dad?
That's why. I have no mental toughness. That's why. Went for a hike with my wife yesterday. We came to a part, there's been a lot of rain here in Northeast Ohio recently, and part of the path, it just fell off into the ravine. And so we had to, I'm like, well, let's just roll over and die. My wife calmly just found an alternate route away, and I followed her. It's a true story. Speaking about choose your own path, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Oklahoma City Thunder. I have a trend for you, Mark Zinno, as we move to our show best bet.
Talk to me.
I'm going to mention this on the Power 5 as well. This is an incredible stat that I found. Teams in the conference finals that played fewer games than their opponent the first two rounds on a 19-1 run in the series. So if you've played fewer games than your opponent in the conference final, so if you've played fewer games in the first two rounds than your conference finals opponent, you've won 19 of the last 20 series. So that favors Minnesota, and Indiana in this situation. Furthermore,
finals
it would be. It'd be terrible. I don't think that's going to happen. Furthermore, if a team has played a game 7 in the first two rounds, they don't do well either. So that doesn't, bode well for Oklahoma City. And on that note, Mark, we think if the T-Wolves are to steal a game in OKC, one of the first two, it's likely to be tonight. The situation, obviously Oklahoma City, basically 48 hours removed from a game 7. It wasn't a tough game 7. They ran away with it in the second half against Denver.
Right.
But if they're to steal one, it's going to be tonight. And if they're going to steal it tonight with this rest advantage, what are they likely to do? Come out strong. Therefore, our show best bet, I will throw it to you, is the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first half. Plus the points.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, it sets up the right way. And I think we underrate Minnesota a little bit here. The version of Minnesota that we've seen as of late, particularly in the playoffs, is a much better version of what we saw throughout the regular season. You're looking at a Minnesota team, and let me find the stat here. Give me a second. I just had it. I got to find out what web page it was on. This is important stuff. Because it was like since December 1st, it talked about how good they have been after a really bad start. Where the hell is it? I can't find it. Like Bob Uecker said, Major League, Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it. From December 1st to the end of the regular season, T-Wolves are 7th in the NBA in points per possession, and 5th in points allowed per possession. On top of that, they had 30-6 in the last 36 games that Julius Randle has played. So, yeah, they are pretty good. I think that they are a much better version of themselves now than they have been throughout the regular season. And, the biggest thing here is can they defend the three? I mean, this is going to be one of these games here where if OKC is hot from 3 to start, Minnesota may be dead in the water early. And so if that happens, then, hey, we're going to take an L here, but I don't think it does. I think there's a little bit of emotional letdown. And while the pace of the Thunder is going to be frenetic as it always is, as long as they're not draining threes crazy, Timberwolves will keep this close for the first 24 minutes.
And the Thunder, first two rounds, have not shot the three particularly well. So hopefully that continues at least for the first half tonight. It's just a bet. T-Wolves first half +4 versus the Thunder. Mark talked about 3-point variance. My guess is that will be a big topic of discussion on tomorrow's show when we talk about the Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and Knicks, because something has to give. Teams either Indiana's got to start missing threes, or teams are going to start making them against the Knicks. That will be an interesting discussion for sure. Remember to click subscribe.
That's something on Brian Power's spreadsheet that has bothered him for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs.
It is very hard to shoot 50% overall and 40% from 3 over a 10-game stretch like Indiana has.
Yes, we think that doesn't continue. I'll tell you that right now.
I think it's also very hard if you're the New York.
Let's go, Knicks, go.
I think it's also very hard for the New York Knicks to continue to let opposing teams shoot open threes and they just miss them. That's something else.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yes. All right.
I mean, the open 3 part.
Eastern Conference Finals talk tomorrow. We'll have 2 baseball bets as well. Please, like I said, click subscribe. It does keep the content free, Zinno. Also, comment. If I'm looking a little better, I saw this feature when I logged in to the show before you logged in. I was telling our great
touch up your appearance.
Yes, I touched up my appearance. I'll be honest with you. I have spent a large portion of this show staring at myself on the computer. I'm not a bad looking man. Comment down below if you agree.
Reasonable people can choose to disagree.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to check the comment section today just to see if people think I'm good looking.
That people don't like that I make fun of you. They want me to leave you alone. People come to
I
your
don't
defense
either.
in the comments section.
I often cry after this program.
You're such a liar.
I don't even remember what he says half the time.
Exactly.
All right. I do remember his name is Mark Zinno. Dan Alexander, thank you very much. We will be back tomorrow. Smash that like button. Let's cash the tickets.